just a little stroll. And all I want for Christmas is the Saints in the Super Bowl.
Kermit Ruffins with a New Orleans classic, a Saints Christmas, and the Saints did play good the other night, but welcome into everybody to the first of two handicapping podcasts this week. My name's Chad Schexnayder, alongside Fairgrounds clocker and morning line maker Mike Diliberto. Mike, happy holidays. How's this Christmas week going for you?
Busy, a lot of horses working, and we're always looking forward to these big days. And Sunday and Monday are both going to be really, really great cards.
Yeah, it really is. Diving into those cards has been quite challenging. Champions Day, we hadn't really talked about the Champions Day podcast, but you had a really nice winner. Fort Polk. Was Champions Day kind to you overall, or did you get busted up with that Buckle Bunny horse?
Yeah, Buckle Bunny cost me the pick 5, but I ended up having some good day because Fort Polk was the key, and hey, Pat Mouton did a great job getting that filly ready to run a big race like that.
Yeah, Champions Day was fun. Overcharged, and Scylla certainly lived up to the hype. Unified Report stayed undefeated for Dallas Stewart. I think there's bigger things on the horizon for him. I think he's probably get his open company chance coming up.
He's got a lot of heart. He digs in at the end and really wants to get it done, you know?
Like we said, the huge upset in the Lassie, Steve Flint's horse kind of knocked a lot of people out of their verticals, including me. 4 for 5, 3 for 4, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, we had repeat winners in the Classic and Sprint. You know, what can you say about Monty, man? A huge effort he gave. I was in that race with my best bet with Sir Wellington, but I only used 2. I used Monty Man and Sir Wellington, and I used him as the best bet just because of the price on the morning line, but Monty Man ran a fantastic race.
He ran a great race, and both of Ron's horses, the other one ran great too, was on the lead and really 44 and change, and it still held on to be second. So, but Ron had both. Ron gets those horses keyed up for Champions Day. That's the races he likes to win when you got them live breds.
No doubt about it. Who Took the Money was a huge effort on the turf, and he's going to wheel right back here. Looks like we're going to see him this weekend.
Boy, that was an impressive win. I mean, he did get a good pace set up, but, man, he just blew by him like they were standing still and got a real high figure out of that race.
Yeah, he's going to come back, and he's got a chance. We'll talk about his race coming up here later on the pod. No Parole, kind of disappointing in the sprint, but Maggie Moss doing right by the horse is going to retire him. Stand him in Louisiana is what I heard. That's a great idea. I think the Louisiana bred program lost the Wildcat and lost half hours this year. So that, you know, I think it could really stand to see some influx of new blood. And you got to have No Parole. And I also saw that Carpe Diem is being transferred to Acadiana Equine and Copper Crown over there in Opelousas. And Carpe Diem, I think, is going to be syndicated for $6,500. I think that horse can do very well here. He's been a decent first out sire. And I'm looking forward to seeing some Carpe Diem Louisiana.
I know, he's a pretty nice horse. Yeah, thought you had him. He was a pretty solid 3-year-old.
Star Guitar, I think, is on top right now with $7,500 sire fee. And Miss Evelyn Benoit, what can you say about her? She wins those races, boy. She loves those Star Guitars, and they just keep producing.
I'll tell you what, Evelyn does a great job. I mean, and she don't mind breeding to some nice mares and to get Star Guitar, and he's proven to be not only a great racehorse, a really good sire. I mean, he's thrown a lot of winners, and you know what? And that brings decent mares to breed to him.
No doubt. Well, we're going to look at the card on Sunday the 26th. We are calling it the Super Santa Sunday card, and it's one of those cards I would imagine as a morning line maker, Mike, that you love the challenge of putting the numbers on these good horses in these races, but let's go through the card. How challenging was it to make some of these lines?
Took me probably about an hour longer than normal because a couple of these races, especially the maiden races, you got 6 or 7 horses that any of them might end up being the favorite. I mean, it's, you know, and working really good. So it's a lot of fun, though, because we always love the big race days.
No doubt. And Sunday's card on the 26th is going to start at noon. Not the usual 1 p.m. post time, but noon. And we expect the weather to be beautiful both days, Sunday and Monday. I think the forecast calls for some good weather. So expect all races to be on the turf. Let's start on Sunday. Let's start one of those maiden special weights you talked about. In the 4th race on the card, it's a maiden special weight for 2-year-olds straight up, going 6 furlongs on the card. And that's some interesting horse in here. You got your usual Tom Amos horse, Lady Arsino. Who'd you make the favorite in this race? I know the bottom horse looks like he's going to take some money, too, for Asmussen.
That's who's the lukewarm favorite at 7-2 is Beyond Perfection for Asmussen. You know, they had a decent gate work here in a minute and 4/5, but was working real well in New York. It looked like they were getting him ready. I mean, they had 47 and change, 59 and 4. So this looks like a horse that's got a lot of foundation under him. Being by curling, he's well-bred. So I made him the lukewarm favorite. But there's, like you said, there's several other ones that are first-time starters and some that have a race under their belt. I mean, Al Stall's got one named Val that, ran a solid second at Churchill. Georgetown Road, been working good. Had a very solid gate work on November 25th for Brendan Walsh. He's been working good. I got to give him a shot. And both of Amos's horses, Hazy Command and Lady Arsenal, both of them, they worked together the other day in 47 and 4. And, you could give either one of them a shot. Now, this is a very wide open race, in my opinion.
The number 10 horse, Beyond Perfection, is a curling filly, like you said, for Steve Asmussen, lukewarm favorite. This one is a half the Hot Dixie Chick and a half the 2017 Kentucky Derby winner, Always Dreaming. So the pedigree is definitely on fire there. And Hot Dixie Chick won the Spinaway, which was a grade 1 for Asmussen, it's, that he trained. So he knows this family very well. And the pedigree screams that this horse is going to be fast and probably could either, going to go a distance and get better being by curling. So, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this one debut. Georgetown Road, you mentioned. I think this one has a little bit of turf breeding. The dam won first out at Woodbine. It was stakes placed here. Poof 2 actually stakes placed in the Pago Hop here in 2011. But both wins for Poof 2. The dam came on the turf and the 4 other foals to race. There wasn't no first-time starters in those foals. So maybe that one down the road, I'm not sure if I'm going to throw that one in or not. But we'll see what happens. Very wealthy. It has a lot of pedigree for Brett Calhoun out of the class above dam, which was a Baffert winner that won first out. They paid $37,000 for her. But I think Beyond Perfection maybe might be the right key. I wanted to ask you about Cherie DeVaux's horse, the 2 Reagan's Decision, because Cherie DeVaux is one of those trainers to me. When she rides the Brian Hernandez's and kind of the higher tier jockeys, it seems like her horses are ready to roll.
She obviously tells Frank Bernice that this one's ready to run, and that's why Frank takes them out. But hasn't shown anything special in the 2 works here at the fairgrounds, but did show some good works, in Kentucky at the training center. But just the fact that Brian Hernandez is on it tells you it's a live horse.
The ones that have run, you mentioned Lady Arsenault and Val. Lady Arsenault, I think, is going to be an improved effort. I actually tabbed that one from the stable mail back when it debuted at Keeneland. You're looking at first-time Lasix going on this horse here. I see the bullet work, and you said that one worked with the other Amos horse, Hazy Command, right?
They worked together and finished head up and galloped out pretty good.
Yeah, and then you look at Tom Amos. He's riding Florent Giroux on one of them and James Graham on the other. So I'm not sure if you can divide those up right there. I mean, both of them, I think, are in there with an opportunity sure.
I like the Kerry Dubuque system. If a trainer has 2 in the race, you either play them both or don't play either one.
Hey, look, and I like Kerry. Kerry's been around for a while, and that's a good system to have for sure. Val's a horse that ran a pretty big number at Churchill for $150,000. Lady Scarlet was the winner of that race at Churchill. Val ran second. And Lady Scarlet was a Cox horse, actually, that was claimed out of that $150,000 maiden race by Mike Maker. Came back to run 5th in an allowance race last week at Oaklawn. So not much really to go on there. But I really like the way that horse finished in that race and was up there on a pretty good pace. Even though it was a sloppy track, he said Val came back and worked pretty well.
Yeah, and all Al's horses are doing well.
Good. Well, there's the 4th race. I think my top pick in there is probably going to be Beyond Perfection. And I want to talk to you about this too. Steve Asmussen's barn's just cold as ice, but it's not really cold across the country, right? I mean, he's won 5 races at Oaklawn, so he's tied for second leading trainer in Oaklawn. But man, here at the fairgrounds, when's the last time Steve Asmussen went into Christmas without having a win at the fairgrounds?
Never. That's when the last time was, never. And Steve's out here every morning. I see him out on the rail watching the horses and giving instructions. You got to think they're going to turn it around soon because he's got a lot of horses that are working pretty well.
No, and look, no wins before Christmas, but he has 8 in. Right. 8 horses in on Sunday. So, it's one of those things where if you see him win a few in the beginning, here it comes kind of thing. Get ready for the hot streak.
The big outfits always have them ready for the big days.
Right. I agree. It's only a matter of time, but if you're going into the 4th race and he hasn't won yet, I just wonder how much bettors are going to look at that and say, I can't play Steve Asmussen until he wins one. I don't know. Maybe so, maybe not. But Beyond Perfection certainly could get him off the duck in the 4th race. Let's go to the 5th race. Starts our stake schedule here. The Blushing KD, Mike, and you were around for Blushing KD's glory days back in 1997. I think it's important to mention this too because Sam David's kind of had a resurgence. A resurgence here at the fairgrounds. He's doing really well.
Retired for a couple of years, and his son took over some of it. But Sam got back in it a few years ago, and his stables built up good with a lot of Louisiana breds, and he's off to another good start here this meet.
Sam David trained the Kentucky Oaks winner Blushing KD back in 1997. And talking to Sam, I saw him this week at the fairgrounds, last week actually at the fairgrounds, and we talked for a second. And Sam was, he bought that horse out of the fairgrounds 2-year-old sale.
I remember that. Oh no, and believe me, she was special. I mean, she was, man, it was just terrible, that freak accident where she reared up and came down and broke the sesamoids, but she was something else.
Yeah, she won the Kentucky Oaks, and certainly for a guy like Sam David, one of the nicest guys you'll meet on the track.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just a super guy. So I'm glad there's a race named after her, and this one's a mile and a 16th on the turf. And we got some interesting horses in here. I want to mention Apple Dapple, the 2, is probably going to scratch according to Joe Sharp, but Joe Sharp's loaded in this race.
Yes, he is. Summer in Saratoga, she won a big stake race at the fairgrounds last year at the end of the meet, and she's been keeping good company running in grade 3, so she's dropping down in class. So it's probably, if she's at the top of her game coming off a little bit of a freshman, and she's going to be really tough to handle. Curly Roof, this is another one that gets Adam the Biscuit back on. Ran 4 solid races, 2 wins in 2 seconds with Biscuit aboard. Last time out, kind of had a if and when trips, got stuck down on the inside and never really got into the race with Declan Carroll, but Adams coming back on him there. I think she's got a legitimate shot. Bella Gamba, this one from the Izio Carreras, this horse looks like an improving horse. Each race has been a little bit better than the previous race. So I got to think, this one could pop up and run good too. I got it between those 3, maybe even more than unusual could pop up. I'd be disappointed as a favorite last time against some of these, but I think this is another very good race.
Yeah, the Blushing KD here, mile and a 16th. A lot of these horses are coming out of the Joe Ray Peluso stake at the fairgrounds. I think there's 4 of them out of there. I went back and watched that race. And really, I like Bella Gamba in there. We actually talked about this race on the pod and for that weekend and the Thanksgiving week. And I like Bella Gamba. I'm probably going to come back again on her. But, from a handicapping's perspective, there's no speed in here. Where's the speed in the turf going to come from? Advocating, is a horse that I'm looking at the numbers and kind of what's on what they call the Timeform US pace. And Advocating has the early speed in here. Can you see Advocating stealing this one on the front end?
If they let him go 25 and change it, the rail's going to be all the way in. They moved the rail all the way in for the turf for this race, for these races, and that's a dangerous thing when a horse gets out on there and goes that first fraction real easy.
It certainly looks like that Panzaretta last time for Advocating was kind of a prep race. And, I do like horses over the fairgrounds turf. Their second time out. Mike Stidham certainly capable of getting this one home. So Advocating, watch the price on him. I think he could drift up from his 8-1 morning line. Summer in Saratoga is actually going to be the favorite. You got 9-5. Corey Lannery, welcome back to the fairgrounds. Corey is going to ride for Joe Sharp here. And Corey, he fits this horse perfect. He's got 3 wins on this horse that I can see in the PPs. He might have 4 actually, but 3 wins for sure. High weighted, 124 pounds. This horse is coming back, and I think Joe Sharp has this horse ready to fire from the rail. And like you said, the rail's going to be in, so that could be the place to be.
And she's got a little bit of a class edge on some of these. But I'm with you. I think the 1 and the 8, Bella Gamba and Summer in Saratoga, probably the 2 main horses.
Yeah, I'm with you. The 1 and the 8 there. In the 5th race, the Blushing KD on Sunday. The 6th race at the fairgrounds, it's going to maiden special weight, 6 furlongs. This one for the boys, Mike, and help.
It always happens when they come in. Early on, that first time, Boston dialing in, ran first time out. For Joe Duhorn, he ran his eyeballs out and just got run over by a big favorite from Al Stallborn. Ran 1:10-2. So he ran a really good time, and with a race under his belt, I think he's going to be right there. Tom Amos has one named Planter's Punch that's been working very quick in the mornings. Got to think he's got a legitimate shot in there. Legionnaire from the Tom Drury farm. Also, solid gate work last time out. It was 1 minute and a 5th, went 47 flat for the half, and 1 minute and 5th for the 5/8. And had some good works at Churchill before that. So that's another one that you got to think, has a decent shot there. But believe me, the St. Andrews, if he runs, because he just worked this morning out of the gate, so I'm not sure he's going to come back and run. But if he runs, he's been working pretty good also.
And that's for Steve Asmussen. You talked about Boss dialing in. We were on the pod that week of Thanksgiving, and you mentioned this horse for Joe Duhorn, saying Joe Duhorn's horse has been training good. And Joe Duhon, of course, knocks me out of like 2 pick fours. But by the time Thanksgiving till now, I think he's knocked me out twice. And I have buddies that are going, didn't you listen to Mike on the pod saying his horse was going to run good? I'm like, you can't use them all. But no, Joe's doing well. And this horse certainly seems like this is one of the best maidens, and Dialed In certainly wins his share of juvenile races. So you mentioned Legionnaire, the 9 on the outside for Tom Drury. This one's a half to Art Collector, who everybody knows about. Art Collector just came out of the Breeders' Cup Classic at Delmore. That's when he was last seen. And Art Collector, he debuted on Saratoga on the turf. He broke his maiden on the turf, going 6.5 at Kentucky Downs, but he won the Woodward, won the Bluegrass. The Dam won first out. That Distorted Legacy, she won first out at Woodbine and was a minor stakes winner. So I think this horse is pretty good.
The only thing I'm a little leery about is they don't have him listed on Lasix, and I like these 2-year-old. I mean, the ones that have the Lasix, I think have a little bit of an advantage. But hey, he can win because he's been working really good.
How about Keen Air right to his inside with Ray Lou Gutierrez? Dallas Stewart has a couple of nice works here, and Dallas not really known to crank him first out at Churchill. He didn't really show too much, but this is second time at the fairgrounds. I think Dallas Stewart's horses could be live the next the 2 days of racing.
Dallas has been on a roll. He's been doing real good for the last 6 months. He's been having a really good year.
Planter's Punch, you said, for Tom Amos. Got I'm kind of wondering, Jimmy Graham was kind of working this horse. I saw at Churchill. You said he's pretty quick. He's got a bunch of works here. Tom Amos certainly one to respect. This McLean's Music. I've learned something about McLean's Music horses. Do you think they can kind of fool you in the morning? I mean, they seem really fast in the morning, and they get their share of winners on the track.
This horse is quick in the morning.
Yeah, those McLean's Music. Sometimes I find those horses, not to call them all morning glories, but I think sometimes those horses can fool you when they go to the racetrack.
Well, obviously, he must have showed something in the 2-year-old training sale because they $25,000 stallion and they paid $350,000 for him.
Right, and the family, is really not that good. If you look down the pedigree side, there's not a lot in that family, so he must look the part for sure. But we'll see what happens. Smarty John, just to mention him real quick for Norm Cassie, was scratched for $50,000 at Churchill in November. Shows up in the maiden special weight here. Has a couple of works. The Mary Lou Whitney bred here for Norm Cassie. But it's a good maiden race. I think you got to maybe go deep. Go deep in here and see what happens. That's on 6th race on Sunday. Let's go ahead to the 7th race. This one's on the turf, the Richie Scherer Memorial, sprinting 5.5 furlongs. This starts off the all stakes pick 5, which is $100,000 guaranteed. Looks like number 2, Mr. Hustle, is going to scratch, so you can take him out of the race, which leaves us with a field of 8 still. Mike, what did you do in this race?
Well, this race is chock with tons of early speed. And similar thing happened last year where Manny Wong ran on the turf for the first time. And it was the same thing, a race that had nothing but 4 or 5 horses that wanted to be on the lead. He just laid behind all of them in last and then ran them down through the stretch to win. He's training real good. He had a really, really good gate work out of the gate there on the 13th, 59-2. Finished up really fast in that gate work. So I got to think I'm going to take a shot with him. Just might. Michelle Lovell's just done a marvelous job with this horse.
What an honest horse, man.
He's won 6 races out of 10 starts this year. Can run dirt, can run turf. He already won the Thanksgiving Day handicap impressively, and he's already proven over the dirt. In fact, Manny caught him in the kennel in the Duncan F. kennel last year at the fairgrounds. So I think both of them will be tough in here. Friar Crow might be a wild card for Ron Moquette. Has run a couple of good turf races, in his career. In his last race in Woodford at Keeneland, he was right there head and head with Golden Pal, who was a really, really
the Breeders' Cup horse, Breeders' Cup champion.
Yeah, so he's a really good horse. And he was only beaten a little over 4 lengths by him. So I got one of those 3 probably, but I'm going to lean towards Manny Ward just because there's so much speed in the race.
There is a lot of speed. I saw this race the same way. Asmussen with Grinning Tiger on the rail has to go. And Adam Bashitza is going to ride for Steve Asmussen. Those two actually hit pretty good rate when they're together. He's got no shot unless he goes. And being on the rail, like you said, it's going to be at 0. Yeah. That's his only way to win. And, this horse is fast. Now, is he as fast as some of the other ones? I'm not sure. The 5, like you said, just might. I love that horse for Michelle Lovell. Just honest, what kind of run you're going to get. That Just Might's going to carry 124 pounds. Spotting a lot of weight in here because some of these horses all, 118. But, Manny Watt, Just White's got to do the 124, and so does Fire Crow. But it could definitely set up, I think, for a horse like Manny Watt if he's right with Corey Lannery. I'm with you. I'm playing those closers. May save a little bit with Grinning Tiger because I'm not sure. The 2's out now, so that's some of the speed that's gone. I have no idea what the 5 Lucky Curlin's going to do. This was great at stakes placed on the poly. I'm not sure what to make of this horse here. And he's training on the dirt. The horse runs good fresh if you look at his PPs. But, you've seen him in the morning. Is there anything you saw in the morning? Florent Giroux just scares me. He scares me on the turf. He scares me when he's riding these horses like this that you kind of overlook because he's usually aggressive, too, on the front end.
Well, oh, no, and believe me, he was our top rider when he was down here, So, he likes this race. He knows how to ride the race course for sure.
So, in your verticals, you might be able to get away with Just Might and Maniwa. Don't let Fire Crow. Fire Crow could be dangerous, too. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens in that race, but it's definitely a good version of the Richie Scherer Memorial. Oh, the bottom horse. Let's mention him for a second before we go somewhere. You have this horse at 10-1 field day for Brad Cox, and I thought that was an interesting morning line because I was looking at his odds, and this horse has really never been less than 4-1. Always taking a lot of money. Really never been over 7-2 in 9 starts. Never off the board. Looks tactical enough. I'm not sure if he's got the kick that Maniwa does. But, can this horse get lost? You got him 10-1 on the board. If he gets lost at 10-1, I might have to use him a little bit.
Oh, no, he was doing very well strictly against 3-year-olds. Never ran against older company yet. And, you can't knock him. He's always runs his race. He's been in the money all 9, starts, 4, 2, and 3, So, he's got a shot. He's, facing much tougher than he's been facing, but off of his PPs, you can't throw him out. It's a good race.
And you mentioned just the turf course overall here. I was telling you, I look back all the turf races here at the fairgrounds. There's been 50 of them in December. And a lot of people asking me, man, I can't, this turf, this and that. And I tell Joe Christofek all the time too. I said, use all. If you can use all, try to use all and go deep because the favorites don't win a lot of turf races here. And I really thought out of the 50 races, I would see it in the single digits. But favorites have won 13 times in December in 50 races, which I think is, maybe 20%. So it's not a whole.
And generally, the favorites at the fairgrounds win about 35, 32, 33%. Right. So they're way down.
You're right. In these turf races, take a look at these price horses because these favorites don't win all the time on the turf here. So, it's interesting to see with the rail at 0. I think the inside's going to be better this week. So just keep your eye on that. Let's go to the 8th race and then we'll take our break. The 8th race is the Tenacious, the last route race on the dirt here. Big Dreamin's cross-entered. I think he's coming out of this race for Wayne Catalano. Tenacious has always been a pretty good race here in the month of December. At the end of the year at the fairgrounds, you get some of these older horses that maybe have their sights set on the New Orleans Classic at the end of the meet. What'd you go for in here, Mike?
I did 2 horses that hooked up, during the summer last year over in Indiana Downs. Shared Sense from the Brad Cox barn. Been keeping good company. Comes out of a race where he finished finished 3rd, 5 lengths behind Nick Sco, who's the fastest older horse in the country. And before that, he beat Bo Luminaire, who has really been a solid horse his last 3 or 4 starts. So off of those 2 races, I think he's going to be pretty tough to beat. But Major Fed finished second to him in a stake race at Indiana last year. And then he came back and ran right behind Bo Luminaire in the race over at Churchill in his last start. So I think both of them have legitimate shots in here. Wild card, like you said, Big Dreamin worked really quick the other morning for Wayne the Cat on December 21st, 46-2, which was really, really quick. But like you said, he might come out of this. Wayne wasn't sure where he was going to run him. And Chess Chief, if you like horses for courses, well, this is a horse for the course. 29 career starts, 4 wins. He's 4 wins out of 9 starts at the fairgrounds. So that's the only place he's ever won.
Right.
And he came back on December 17th with a solid 1:03 work. So Dallas might be getting the turnaround again and get back into that form that he had last year. His last couple of starts was way over matched, running in 2 grade 1s and a grade 3. So with the drop back down in class, and he looked like he ran good, I can't throw him out either.
Yeah, Chess Chief, I was wondering, you made him 10-1, and then I wrote by my notes, did you see something you didn't like here in his work on December 17th? Because he worked 1:03, which is a fast work for a Dallas Stewart horse. And I thought carrying 124 pounds, like you said, loves the fairgrounds, running against all those monsters. He won the New Orleans Classic, the grade 2 here in the spring, and he was only 5-1 that day. I can't imagine him being 10-1 in this race. I don't know.
He was 101-1 last time.
He was 101-1.
But it's funny. We're going to talk about a horse later on in the Gun Runner. He worked with a 3-year-old the other day in the 1:03. That was a super dude for Dallas.
Okay.
But it was a solid work, and if he's turning around and maybe coming back into that fairgrounds form, plus we know he loves the surface, so no surprise if he pops up and runs big.
I think if you're a smaller player in the verticals here, is this where you probably get narrow in single shared sense?
To me, I think he's got a little bit of an edge on a lot of these because he seems to be in good form right now. So he's in best form. He's got, to me, the best rider at the fairgrounds, Brian Hernandez Jr. He to me, he's the best one here on a regular basis. He's stable here. So I just think Shared Sense is his race to lose.
Yeah, he's a multiple Grade 3 winner for Brad Cox. Shared Sense, he won two Grade 3s as a 3-year-old. And he's coming into this race. I think he's really got a good chance as well. Major Fed is one that certainly we followed at the fairgrounds here. Like you said, he hasn't went over the track. If he gets the pace to run at, he could be dangerous coming down the lane. But can he outkick a horse like Chess Chief? I'm not sure. But if you got a small bankroll, maybe you go with the Shared Sense. Maybe throw a little Chess Chief in there. And see what happens. Anything else to really talk about in that race?
No, that's about it.
Okay, well, that's the 8th race to Tenacious on the card on Sunday. We're going to go ahead and take a break here real quick, come back on the other side, and we'll look at the double carryover into the Pick 5, which is the last 5 races on Sunday. We'll start it with the 9th when we come back right after this. History in horse racing means something, and the folks at Louisiana Craft Butchers can certainly tell you about horse racing in New Orleans. Another historic element in New Orleans is the food culture, and at Louisiana Craft Butchers, they specialize in delivering the perfect meats for all your needs, whether it is a tailgate extravaganza, watching football at home with friends, or a holiday feast. Louisiana Craft Butchers offers it all, from boudin, hogshead cheese, and tamales, to selling over 20 different sausages, including the New Orleans favorite Palmisano homemade Italian sausage, which is a family recipe of Angelo Palmisano Sr. and his wife dating back to the 1940s. Don't take my word for it. Check it out for yourself. Louisiana Craft Butchers out in Kenner. Check them out at lacraftbutchers.com or give them a call, 504-466-9788. That's 504-466-9788 or online at lacraftbutchers.com. Everyone likes to win money. If you bet on football, college, or NFL, you need to check out the newest and hottest website, meatandpotatoesusa.com. Meat and Potatoes has sports consultants who have documented success. You can buy their strongest picks on the weekend. This is not a gambling site, a site for you to get information to help you win money when betting on football. Check out my boy Tommy Krysan, TK on Sports. His podcast, Sports Betting, is exploding across the USA, and you need to check out meatandpotatoesusa.com for all the latest and greatest picks. Check them out right now, meatandpotatoes.com. Back here in the Fairgrounds Racing Podcast, Chad Schexnayder alongside Mike Diliberto. And Mike, before we get into the 9th race and talk about the late Pick 5 on Sunday at the Fairgrounds, checking out the standings right now, main track standings. This is just dirt, but you're looking at Mike Stidham's been pretty hot. 3 wins, 5 starts on the dirt here. Amos always good. He's got 3 wins out of 7 starts. And Jose Camejo, 23 starts on the dirt, 8 wins, 5 seconds. Some cold guys. We talked about Asmussen's numbers already, but he's 0 for 12 on the main track. And Joey Foster, a little bit surprising. He's 0 for 22 on the dirt. And Joey's got a lot of horses here and usually does pretty well. So I would think he's going to come out of his funk pretty soon.
I mean, me and Billy Petgill were talking about that this morning along with Frank McGoey. Joey Foster, we were expecting him to have a good start. And all of his horses seemed like maybe they might need a race or two.
On the turf, you're looking at, this is more interesting here. Brad Cox, of course, hot on the turf, 17 starters, 4 of his wins have come there. Chris Hartman has 4 wins as well on the turf. And Vicky Foley has 5 starters on the turf, 2 wins in 3 seconds for Vicky Foley horses on the turf. On the flip side of it, Mike Maker, you don't see this a lot for his horses on the turf, 0 for 13 to start the meet on the turf.
Yeah, well, you're right. He'll turn it around, though.
No doubt. So just something to pay attention to there. Like we said, Steve Asmussen doesn't have a win before Christmas, but he's got a ton of horses, 6 of them in for Sunday. Actually, 8 horses in for Sunday, and he's winning. He's tied for second at Oaklawn. So looking on the jockey side of it, main track, Jose Riquelme 1 for 34, Suarez 1 for 21. Those guys hadn't really got it going on the main track. Pedro Cotto, too, 0 for 27. But interesting that on the turf, this kid, Pedro Cotto, 11 rides on the turf, 3 wins in 3 seconds.
Hey, you had the right horses for those races, it looks like.
Yeah, so Brian Hernandez obviously really good on the turf here as well so far with 5 wins to lead all jockeys. On the main track, Marcelino Pedroza, 9 winners, Ray Lou with 8. And Brian, of course, is at 27% with his. Raylu Gutierrez, we talked about in the first week of the meet. We thought he could challenge for the top spot in the standings. He's looking good.
Oh, hey, I'm very impressed with him. He's a very solid rider.
Ninth race on the card Sunday. This one is the Buddy D, the Buddy D Memorial. It's been a staple here on this card in December, mile on the 16th on the turf for these older horses, and a lot of pressure on you here to pick a winner for the family.
I tell you, more times than not, a price horse wins this race. Over the years, the Buddy D usually comes in with some long shots winning it, and it's a kind of race again that's to me wide open. Pixelette's the lukewarm favorite at 7-2. Got beat opening day in a Bob Wright race. Only got beat a neck. He's won over $1 million in his career. Stidham does a great job with him. But, there's 4 or 5 other ones in here. Spooky Channel, this is another one that loves to win. 11 wins in 25 lifetime starts. So, you just got to think he's going to, run real good. And he seems to be in really good form right now over his last couple of starts. Both wins, one of them a grade 3 at Keeneland. A couple other ones that you can make a case for. Monarch's Glen, he was a fast closing third in the Bob Wright. Wild card, Logical Myth didn't fire at all in the Bob Wright, and now he gets Adam Biscuit back aboard. And if Adam runs him like he rode him last year, he could be a dangerous horse in here. And Midnight Tea Time, Joe Sharp's other horse, he just won 8 days ago. Nice deep allowance field in this, and so no surprise if he pops up and runs good. And like we said earlier, Wayne Catalano, depending on what race Big Dreaming runs in, you said he might be leaning towards this turf race. He could be one of the pace setters in here, and off of that 46-2 work, no surprise. And he's run well over the turf before.
Yeah, this ninth race, so 5 of them come out of the Bob Wright from opening weekend, the top 4 finishers in that race. The rail was at 7 feet that day. It's going to be at 0, not much of a difference. This race does start the late pick 5, like we said, the double carryover that'll be seated with about $100,000 in it. I went back and watched the Bob Wright. I still can't figure out for the life of me how Pixelate lost that race. He was beaten on the wire by another mystery, but galloped out past the winner. He's going to get Suarez back in the saddle today. Has an outside post. Just want to note that the 2 hierarchy is going to scratch, so you could take him out. But Pixelate is a horse that I want to lean on him and think this is the second start off the layoff that he's got to win. But he did get the perfect trip last time. What I do like about Pixelate is he's dropping 6 pounds off carrying 124 pounds in that Bob Wright. And a lot of them here, the weights are a lot different than what it was last time they matched up, Mike. Logical Myth's going to go back to 118. He's dropping 6 pounds. Monarch's Glen's dropping 6 pounds to 118 off his last race. You look at flipping it over. Cavalry Charge comes in at 118 pounds. Midnight Tea Time has 118. But the horse that did win it, another mystery, is going to have to carry 124 again. And winning only by a neck over Pixelate, how much do you think weights could play a difference in this mile on the 16th turf?
I definitely think when you're going to route of ground, the weight definitely comes into effect. And the way they talk, 2 pounds could be a length. So, when you're talking 4 or 6 pounds difference, that definitely could be the changer.
So where's the speed coming from in here? Because I think a new face like Cavalry Charge for Dallas Stewart, Brian Hernandez, you're getting 12-1 on the morning line here. Not sure how that price is going to hold up, but this horse isn't stakes race proven. He's won a couple of allowance races, hasn't been over the fairgrounds turf, but I tell you what, those last 2 races were against pretty good company at Kentucky Downs and Keeneland. This is a horse where I think if Brian rides him aggressively, gets over to that good side of the turf on the inside, he could be tough to catch in the lane.
I would think either him or Big Dreaming is going to be the ones that are right up on the pace, because Big Dreaming is another one that, with that quick work under his belt, he looks like he's, going to show a lot of speed. And he's been right up there. He's won a wire winning the turf race at Ellis Park on a flat mile. So he does have some early speed. But Cavalry Charge, that's a horse that's done really good for Dallas Stewart. 3 wins in his last 4 starts. And like you said, his last starts, Kentucky Ghost, a pretty nice horse that he beat.
No, it is definitely, I think you're right. And, I had another mystery on my tickets last time in the Bob Wright. I think this is a spot you may want to play against another mystery. Just with the perfect trip last time, I think he's going to be overbet a little bit coming off that win. People see that win in his PPs last out. And these turf races, I like to go different directions and kind of stay away. A horse I wanted to talk about is Spooky Channel. This horse loves to win. Jason Barkley coming off a grade 3 win over at Keeneland. The further, the better for this horse. You got him 4-1 with James Graham. He does have a race over the track here. How has he looked? He's got 2 works here. What'd you think about Spooky Channel?
Training very well, and Jason Barkley's in town, so he thinks he's going to run good.
Yeah, I think this horse. These horses that have 25 outs and 11 wins. I mean, there's no substitute for a horse that likes to get to the wire first. And I think Spooky Channel is a new face in here that could be up there to surprise. But I think if you're looking at A, B, I can't let Pixelate beat me again and dropping to 6 pounds. And I just think you got to use Pixelate second off the layoff here as an A. I think I'm gonna use Cavalry Charge maybe as an A, and then use Monarch's Glen and Spooky Channel as B's.
I can understand that.
Joe Sharp, talking to Joe, Logical Myth loves the fairgrounds. He's not sure what happened last time. Says he might just been coming off the farm and needed the race. So he's going to wheel him right back here. He gets back to 118. His best race easily.
Last year he was one of the top turf horses on the grounds.
Yep. So it's an interesting start to the pick 5, the late pick 5. This is the only turf race in the late pick 5, which excites me because we got 4 dirt races coming up next, and I like my chances more in those dirt races when I do the turf. But you got to get out of the turf race to have a chance, and that's the 9th race on Sunday. Let's go to the 10th race. In the 11th race, you got a couple of stakes races for 2-year-olds. The 10th race is going to be the Untappable, and because it's a Kentucky Oaks points race, there's no Lasix in this. No Lasix for none of these horses here. It's like I said, it's a points race for going toward the Kentucky Oaks. 10 points to the winner, 4 for second, 1 for third, 2 for third, and 1 for fourth. So I think this race, you got some interesting prospects here. Let's start with California Angel. What do you think about California Angel, the turf horse from the Breeders' Cup for George Leonard? Going to have blinkers off. What have you seen? Can this horse run as good on the dirt as she's running the turf?
Had a couple of decent works, nothing eye catching, but a couple of solid, finishing up good, dirt races, workouts for her here, and been keeping pretty good company running in grade 1 and grade 2 in the last 2 starts, and didn't run bad in her only dirt start, and 3/4 might have been a little short for her. She came from last to finish 3rd, so no surprises she pops up and wins.
Yeah, George Leonard says he's taking the blinkers off here, thinks he's going to help this filly. That dirt race, he's going on record as saying he ran that horse in the dirt so he wouldn't have to have a work in between, so it's just kind of a prep going into that Keeneland race to Jessamine, which was a very exciting race that she won, and she got into the Breeders' Cup off that win. I don't know, man. I think she's very talented. I think she's classy. I like pulling for a guy like George Leonard. I'm going to be interested to see what she goes off at. I think the morning line price is probably right at 4-1, but I think that can go either way. I really do. I don't know, who's going to take more money than her coming in here. There's no Brad Cox in here. There's no Steve Asmussen in here. But there's a horse you did make 9-2 in the morning line to 1, Fannie and Freddie. She beat only a 3-horse field, 4-horse field. She won it. Her number in that race was decent, going 2 turns first time out. She came back with a bullet work. What was it about that work? And I need to hear it, because unless you tell me this is one of the best works you've ever seen, I think I'm leaving this horse off.
No, it was a quick work, and she she looked good doing it, and then house horses all doing well. Off of that last race, but the only thing with her now, she goes back off of the Lasix, and the Lasix might have been the key to that big race there. To me, the horse that's intriguing is the 5-horse Cocktail Moments. I mean, she was visually impressive, just blowing a field away at Churchill Downs at the end of the meet up there, just drawing away at will to win by 9.5 lengths. This horse has a lot of upside. I mean, she could be any kind, and she didn't have Lasix that day, and she gets more distance this time. So I think she's going to be really tough to beat here. Bottom horse, North Country. How can you knock her? She's 2 for 2. Looks like she can handle a mile and a 16th last time out, and beat a decent field at Keeneland. This is a very competitive field. In fact, I got 5 or 6 horses winning just a couple of ticks off of the odds.
I can see people maybe leaning on their tickets, maybe with smaller bankrolls, maybe leaning on Cocktail Moments. I think she's going to take money off the 3-1 morning line for sure. Kind of invading from Keeneland. Brian Hernandez is named to ride, and people may be wondering, well, Corey Lannery rode this horse last time. Why isn't Corey riding her? But in that maiden race, McPeak actually had 2 in that race, and Brian was on a horse named Runaway Wife, who ran 3rd in Cocktail's race, and that Runaway Wife was 5-2. This horse was 26-1. So Brian's getting back on this one. He was working it. He just one of those deals where he picked the wrong one almost. I mean,
exactly. And, the other horse they probably thought might have been the better one. And this one just, evidently it went under the radar with everybody. Went off 26-1.
Yeah, and I'm wondering how much she beat, because let's look at this race a little bit that Runaway Wife Cocktail Moments, came out of. Runaway Wife has come back and only ran a 40 buyer next time out. It was 6th at Oaklawn. Back on the 18th of this month. The 4th place horse, Gunslingin', ran Monday here at the fairgrounds, ran 4th. And the 9th place finisher actually dropped in for a $50,000 tag and ran 6th. So not a lot of positive results coming out of that race for Cocktail Moments. You see the big number there. I don't know. I mean, you can go either way here with this one, I guess. If you wanted to play against it, I certainly wouldn't have a problem with that. I do like the 8 horse, like you mentioned, with Brendan Walsh. They figured out this horse, it came off the turf, that race at Keeneland, and the horse ran away and won at 12-1. That race actually came up, talking about how weak maybe Cocktail Moments race was. That race that North County ran has come back very well. Bahoma won an allowance race at Churchill with a 69 buyer next time. And, I'm wondering, has she looked the part in the morning? Have you liked those works that North County's got?
She's looked good. She finished up well in her works.
Okay. Here's a question for you. Whose work do you like better out of Shotgun Hottie, that work on December 16th for Amos, Shotgun Hottie, or that Fannie and Freddie work on the same day?
Well, Shotgun Hottie actually finished in 11 and no, she went real quick early that day. She went 11-2, so she kind of was getting a little bit tired towards the end of her work. So I would think Fannie and Freddie might have been a little bit more impressive to work.
Okay, so Shotgun Hottie's Florent Giroux, Tom Amos, the gun runner filly here. I just asked that because both of these horses are coming off of wins, coming off stretch-out wins to run back here in the stake. And I think both of them are just interesting in their own rights, but I just was kind of curious on who might be doing a little better.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. This is a very good race, and I don't see how you can whittle it down to 1 or 2.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. And, you got the Mike Denny Invader from Gulfstream. This one beat Florida Breds. But one last time on the poly track, which is, that's a whole different subject over there at Gulfstream with the 3 different courses and races. But poly track last time, this one's coming in. I'm not sure if, they just entered or if she's here or not. But, she's won. And then the Steve Margola's horse has been out 4 times already, too. Was entered Fairgrounds. Looks like it's going to run. Yeah, it's running this race. But the work last time on the 17th. Anything to report here on Implosion, the 4?
Didn't show anything to make you stand up and think, this is going to be a big effort coming up. But, you can't ever count these young horses out because they do improve pretty quickly when they're younger. Yeah, this is interesting because you get out of this race, I think people may take a stand against California Angel in here just because they can see that dirt race. My stand, when you can't use them all, you got to throw one out. I'm going to go ahead and throw Fannie and Freddie out. That's where I'm leaning. I'm leaning toward throwing that one out and maybe using a couple of these others, including the Cocktail Moments, and North County will probably be the one I maybe lean on in that race. Anyway, that's the 10th race. That's the untappable for $100,000 stake, and some of these horses, maybe the first 2, you can see them on the Fairground Oaks Trail the next couple of months. The next one is the Gun Runner Stakes, and not to Steve Asmussen and Gun Runner here with untappable, but Steve has a horse in here, Epicenter, and you made him 5-2 in the morning line in the 11th race. Well, off of that last win, a very impressive stretching out to the mile and just drew away and won pretty impressively and beat a pretty solid field in that race. So I give him the slight nod over Rocket Dog, who you can't knock him either. His first start, he came from 7th and just drew a win by 5.5 lengths going away. So I really think one of these 2 horses will win this race. Surfer Dude, I give him an outside shot. He's looked like a improving horse. And Tejano Twist, he's the one that's got 3 wins in 3 seconds and got some big numbers, but I'm not sure he wants to go 2 turns. All his races have been sprints so far, so I'm leaning towards just using the 1 and the 3. The Gun Runner race here is actually a Kentucky Derby points race, 10 points, same as the untappable, 10-4-2-1. So there's no Lasix on these horses here. Epicenter, if you look at the Circa odds, which is in Las Vegas for the Kentucky Derby right now, Epicenter is 100-1. Surfer Dude's 175-1. Tejano Twist is 150-1. And Kevin's Folly's 200-1. Rocket Dog at Circa right now is the co-second choice for Kentucky Derby futures at 20-1. It doesn't mean anything. No, not really. I mean, it's just so early in the game. But if that's true, Rocket Dog might be 6-5 in this race. Sounds like Frank Fletcher must have made a bet on it. Yeah, I mean, no kidding. I can see Rocket Dog maybe going favorite in this race off that number
I think that was a really fast race.
Well,
that
I
he
tell
ran
you what,
first time out.
if you look at the Clarion Herald, Peter Finney Jr. picks him to win this race. He picks him to win the Louisiana Derby, in fact.
Jeez. Well, okay. Fair enough. But Epicenter, I think, is one they high on in the Asmussen barn. They paid a lot of money for him. I think, on the rail, Brian's going to have good position. This is a race where I think you could maybe lean on either Rocket Dog or Epicenter, maybe get through it right there. But you want to let's talk about Surfer Dude for a minute, because you mentioned earlier that Surfer Dude's last work was with Chess Chief, who's, the New Orleans Classic winner. How did those two match up in the morning last time?
They went head and head the whole way, and Chess Chief might have got a little bit better on the gallop out, but that was pretty solid work for this little horse.
Yeah, Rocket Dog comes out of a key race so far. 2 horses have come back to win. One of them, Grantham. You see that in the PP lines. Came back at Turfway, won a mile in the 16th main special weight with a 71 buyer. And actually, the 2 horses behind them ran better. A Mam Jus ran a 79 buyer next time out at Oaklawn, ran second, and Battle Ready ran a 77 buyer next time and ran third. So that's a key race, I think, that Rocket Dog comes out of. People are probably going to push some money in toward him. Kevin's Folly's a horse, Mike, that was kind of a steam horse at Saratoga. A lot of people knew about him first time out. Paid 7-1 that day. Then ran into Goodnight for Asmussen, who had a great summer up there. Ran into another really good horse in the Grade 1 Breeders' Futurity and Rattle and Roll for Kenny McPeak. Another mile in the 16th race. This horse has a lot of foundation, I think. Gets his 5th different jockey for Amos here in James Graham. What do you think about Kevin's Folly? Because he could be a sneaky horse in here.
I know Tom was high on him during the summer, and he didn't disappoint first time out, winning at Saratoga. And, we had a little trouble in a couple of races. His last race wasn't a bad race. It was a decent race, finishing up third. A little bit of a long shot in here, but, no surprise if he would probably win. But I'm going to weed it down to the 1 and the 3 myself.
Okay, but Mike likes the 1 and the 3 here in the Gun Runner. The last 2 races on the card, the 12th and 13th, are maiden special weight races. A lot of people consider these kind of dartboard races, but what can we do in here maybe to help the people out?
I tell you what, that's why I'm trying to weed some of these other races down, because I can't see being safe unless you got at least 4 in each of the last 2 races. And Sergeant Reckless for Tucker Alonso, who we're glad Tucker came home from the hospital. He's doing very well, and his horses are doing very well also. But this colt had 2 or 3 really solid works at the fairgrounds, and I can't knock him. He's getting a tough feel in here. So I think Sergeant Reckless has to be on the ticket. Tis of Thee showed really good speed first time out for Amos at 3-1 and kind of backed up, but now he's going to get Lasix for this race, and he came back with a 59 and 4 work. So I can't knock him. Charlemagne for Mike Stidham, another one that's been working very well in the morning, very well bred. Peaceful Waters just run second first time out for Al Stahl Jr. Going to get Lasix for the first time. And Gilded Ruler, another one that get Lasix for the first time and finished third in a race that Art Heights finished second in. So all of them I got checks on. If I had to weed it down, I guess Sergeant Reckless, Tis of Thee, Peaceful Waters, and Gilded Ruler. So that's my 4.
So you got 4 of them in there, and I hear you. You're gonna sell me a little bit on Sergeant Reckless. You saw him in the morning. Peaceful Waters certainly can improve. Second time out, ran a race almost too good to lose. Lost a horse called Chasing Time, who came back to run second in an allowance race at Oaklawn next time out. So no disgraces there. $220,000 purchase. Like I said, I think you got to use him. I like Tis of Thee getting the Lasix. I'm with you on that one. They're going, the next crew, I think I might stay with those 3, but, Gilded Ruler is one, you look at Brad Cox, do you really want to get beat by Brad Cox in your verticals? That's kind of tough to do, but Brad usually has those maidens ready for these kind of big days. The 8 horse for Bashitza and Steve Margolis, this one's a half to Mischievous Alex, who's a multiple graded stakes winning sprinter. Didn't get the best trip, was a step slow last time out. That race has done okay. This horse came running down the middle of the track that day, ran third in a 10-horse field. If something falls apart, up front, maybe this horse picks up pieces. I think I would definitely put this horse in your trifectas underneath. I'm not sure if he can win, but I like this horse maybe in a trifecta to throw that one in there. But definitely a tough race in the 12th. Let's go to the 13th race, last race in the card, maiden special weight. This one for the boys. And a mile and a 16th here, Mike. You have any interesting stuff going on? I can tell you this: Cyberknife owes me money, so I'm not leaving Cyberknife off the ticket because that DQ his first time out cost me a little bit of money, and he came back next time and ran another good race, and he was odds on that day. Lost a classic moment, but you got him at 5-2. I think Cyberknife for Brad Cox is going to be odds on in this race. To be honest with you,
I can't knock him at all. I mean, obviously he's well bred and well thought of. He's a big, solid favorite in both of his starts. And like you said, he won the first one and got disqualified. Training very well, and he gets Lasix for the first time. Art Heist, like you said, Dallas is high on this colt, and he ran a solid second in his last start. I can't knock his race at all. He looks like a horse that's, going to appreciate the extra distance. Bottom horse, Mass Patrol. This is another one, gets Lasix for the first time. He got kind of squeezed at the start and really didn't get a fair shake last time out in the race. That Epicenter one. And another one that I'm leaning towards is the horse Jeeper. He closed very well, finished third behind Rocket Dog, who you were just giving rave reviews to in the race, in the gun runner earlier on the card. And this colt, his 2 works here at the fairgrounds have been very, very solid works. He had a very solid half-mile work, and then he came back with a 5/8, and then his most recent work on December 18th, 1 minute and 2/5, finished up in 11 and change and galloped out in 13 and change. Looks like a horse that's coming to his own and going to improve in that second start in his career.
There's a lot of second-time starters in here, some horses stretching out, so there's a lot of questions. Jeeper is interesting. Yeah, that's a good call there. I think Keith DeSormo might have a nice horse here. 32-1. He split horses in that race, that Rocket Dog race. If you can go back and watch that race, he ran well. Jeeper did run well, and it's good to hear that he's come back with some nice works. He has to run down Cyberknife, which could be a tough ask, but definitely throw Jeeper in on the underneath tickets for sure. And you're looking at Art Heist, like we said, that's a horse that I think is going to improve. Lasix, Dallas Stewart. And Max Patrol was in my stable mill, too. I used him. Brendan Brawlish had a good summer with maidens. This one for Allied Racing. Third start, this horse probably raced himself into shape a little bit. Went the mile last time, the one-turn mile at Churchill, and they bet on him that day against Epicenter, against Seal Beach, against Surfer Dude. So, this horse, backed up a little bit, kind of ran even and kind of, lost interest there late. But getting Lasix first time out, they paid a lot of money for him, $310,000. So look for Mass Patrol probably to improve as well here in the last race. Very tough sequence, and you're going to have to earn it. If you hit this pick 5 late,
you'll get paid.
You'll get paid. No, you would definitely get paid for it. What do you think about best bets? Let's wrap it up here. What's a play that you think you can lean on?
Actually, there's 2 horses that I'm going to play that they're just training really, really well, and it looks like the race is set up pretty good for him. In the 7th race, I'm going to go with Wayne Katz's horse, Manny Wall. I think the race sets up well for him. And then in the last race, I'm going to take my shot with Jeeper as an upset special at 8-1.
Okay. For me, I was looking at it. I like. Let's see, where did he go? Oh, I got to go back here to my upset special is going to be Cavalry Charge in the 9th race in the Buddy D. You said prices happen in the Buddy D. Let's go with Cavalry Charge, maybe to upset the apple cart in the 9th race. Don't leave that one off of your picks. And, Tenacious, I think if Brad Cox has Shared Sense ready, I think you can lean on that horse, maybe try to get by with a single there if he can run him down. So I think Shared Sense is one that is definitely you can lean on there early in the 8th race.
And I'm glad you picked Cavalry Charge in that race, because now I don't have to tell anybody the family's going to be out there to present the trophy, and I don't have to pick a horse. I'm going to tell them Chad Schexnayder says this horse.
That's right. Yeah, just take it to the bank. Cavalry Charge, all the Christmas money on that one. But that'll do it. We'll be back to check out the Monday card here. The next podcast. Follow everything on Fairgrounds NOLA. They've had some great notes. Those guys up in the press box, Kevin Kilroy and Joey K, been producing some good notes on the barn notes for there. So check them out at Fairgrounds NOLA on Twitter. I'm Shex NOLA on Twitter. Download this podcast from all your podcast spots on Apple, Spotify, and anywhere else that you get your podcast from. Super Santa Sunday is going to be a great card. Like I said, we'll check back with everybody next time. Good luck Sunday at the races.
Swinging in the Superdome. Come on and do the Benson Boogie. Let's whip their butts and go home. It's Christmas in New Orleans.